Good morning, friends. Welcome to another day of Almost Daily Meditation. It is Thursday. I hope you're doing well and having a good week. Was thinking a little bit about what our staff did yesterday. We were kind of working on making a visual of the ages of our congregation and just laying out some stuff, just thinking about ministry and where programs and different stuff like that are. And a lot of times the efforts that we do, like all efforts in life, seem kind of small. And then at the same time, we're trying to build towards something and care for the congregation and programs and all those different things, and how so much of what we do is sort of one step at a time, or it's we take a small step forward, or we do this, whatever it might be. And thinking about that in terms of each of our lives, about what we do in our lives, what we choose to do, and then we have these enormous challenges ahead of us. Just the way the world is, the if we talk about wanting to help people who are hungry, there's so many people that are hungry, and how do you address that? Or if we think about the immigration issues, how do you address that? Or and then all the personal challenges that everybody faces, and you can sort of get really overwhelmed. And I think about that in terms of our own life. I remember whenever I started different parts of my schooling, it always seemed like there was just so much that was going to come before. I remember being in high school and starting my freshman year and thinking about how I had to have all these classes and take everything and do all this stuff, and it was going to be so hard. And same thing about college and eventually graduate school, and and then you end up learning that it's you do what you got to do for that day. You take on this small task, and you get there. Dorothy Day, who was in the worker movement at a different, beginning of the last century, doing amazing work on the streets for people who were homeless and hungry, really got into a huge effort about, helping to create even a culture of people who would go and work in the streets to try to improve conditions. And she says that people say, "What is the sense of our small effort? They cannot see that we must lay one brick at a time, take one step at a time." She's writing that from the context of being in the immensity of impoverished people, but also in dealing and challenging the world to be better, and not just in the small ways that she did that on the streets, but also taking it to politicians and others to make changes. And I was thinking about this in terms of your own, personal journey. What do you do? How do you take that one step forward? How do you take laying one brick at a time in your life, taking one step at a time to the big challenges that we have, whether it's facing a cancer diagnosis, changing of a job, raising a child, being with grandchildren, walking with your adult children through the challenges they face, the projects that you have at work, maybe it's just getting the house clean today. Those kinds of things where we might not always see that our small efforts fit some bigger, larger picture around us and what that means for you. So maybe if you have some time, make a comment about what are some things that you take in small steps, one brick at a time, one step at a time, the big challenges that you have in your life, and how are you seeking to overcome and seeking to continue to build, and to know that your small effort does make a huge difference in someone's life, and towards the greater good of society. Think of all the people who've helped to bring our faith to us by doing that very same thing, whether it meant copying the scriptures down in times before we had printing presses, or doing the work to carry the message forward to us, to bring it on a covered wagon to this part of the world, all the different things that we can think of that give us the gift of the faith that we have today. God bless, and we'll see you tomorrow.